Men and women are not the same. Let me tell you the difference between when men do it and when women do it. And you can write your comments in there as you see fit. When women step out, they betray the man. When men step out, they cheat. There's a difference. So again, women prioritize the best that they can get. That's their sexual strategy. Do you understand? Hypergamy. Men prioritize availability. So she's hot, she's willing, let's go. Okay. Again, these are very different sexual strategies. In fact, the entire red pill, the entire Mano Swamp could be subbed up with those two lines. I think Carl summarized it that way before he left the Mano Swamp many, many moons ago. He wrote in a blog, women prioritize the best they can do, men prioritize availability. Totally different strategies. So when men step out, it's cheating. When women step out, it's betrayal, because women form a connection with a guy when she steps out. She has to have an emotional connection. It is incredibly difficult for women just to like run around and just like bang a bunch of different guys and cheat on their boyfriend. There's some women that are like unhinged, chemically imbalanced, and they're unhinged in that sense, and they do that. But most women, generally speaking, if they're going to cheat on you, like if they're going to step out on you, or they are doing it right now, whether you're married, it's Kevin in sales or the pool boy or whatever happens to be, they have formed an emotional connection. They have invested in this other guy, and they generally want to monkey branch to him, meaning they don't want to leave the guy that they're with until they can grab onto the next dude before they release, and they've got their meat hooks. They rarely deal with two guys simultaneously, and I can prove it to you. Ishmael the Bloodthirsty, let's talk about him. What the hell was his real name? Ismail ibn Sharif Mullah lived from 1672 to 1727. He was a Moroccan sultan. And let's see. So his spouses number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he's got 10 wives listed on his Wikipedia page. Apparently he sired over 1,000 children. Oh, wait, it says right here, amongst 525 sons and 343 daughters. And he had concubines, right? So what he would basically do is he'd obviously have his wives, and then he'd have his side pieces or the concubines or whatever, and he'd have children with all of them. And what would generally happen is as they got older, as they all got older, obviously, he would start to retire them, and they would be responsible for childcare, and new ones would come in, which he would sleep with and impregnate, and he would just continue the cycle until he had all these children. So he's left behind. I mean, I've heard accounts of over 1,000, but it says 525 sons, 343 daughters on the Wikipedia page today. There is no example in history of a woman doing that with men. It just doesn't exist. This guy had hundreds of women. He would actually turn his guards into eunuchs, cut them off. They would become eunuchs, and they would guard his women. And he did that so that the guards would not touch his women. And their job was, of course, form a perimeter, protect what's mine, and keep everybody away from it, because that's all mine, because I'm going to be having children with all of that all the time. So you go back in the historical records, there's no example of any women doing that at any given time. There's some examples of some powerful women, like, Cleopatra, who would monkey branch from dude to dude sort of thing, but nothing in the sense where it was like hundreds and hundreds of men simultaneously, right? Men can have thousands of children with multiple women. The world record for women having children, I think, is something like 63. It's in the 60s. It's like a ridiculous number. And it was sequential, like quadruplets, sextuplets, twins, like every single pregnancy resulted in multiple children simultaneously. So the world record for a woman is like 60 or something like that. For a dude, it's like into the thousands. I mean, you go to Genghis Khan, I think something like 1 or 2% of the world's population today can be genetically traced back to Genghis Khan. It is what it is, right? So there's a massive difference between men and women when it comes to sex, sexual interest. Again, women 1 egg, men millions of sperm. Sexual strategies for women: prioritize the best they can get. Men prioritize availability, right? When a woman steps out, it's betrayal. She is betraying her commitment to that man. She is already looking at another guy as a better option and thinking to herself, that's it. I like Kevin from sales. I'm not really sure what's going on with this guy, but I think I'm going to find a way out, and I'm going to monkey branch my way over. It could be under the radar. It could be somebody of lower value that's more of a Chad, more of like an alpha dude, and husband's like a beta male, stay at home, makes money, makes bank. She wants to keep him around. Maybe she's got kids with him. That's why you see these new age open relationships showing up a lot on dating sites where like married women are all like, I have an open relationship with my husband, so I can go bang whatever the hell I want. Because he's some dork that's staying at home, babysitting the kids and probably making all the money. And she doesn't want to jeopardize any of that. And she just wants some fun on the side with some Chad or some younger dude, right? So big differences. And, she can go out there and have those romantic interests because dude's paying the bills. She's just not that interested in him anymore. Like, she'll actually deal with the two guys because you got alpha fucks and beta bucks over here. Same equation, right? That doesn't exist for men. There's no alpha fucks, beta bucks for men and women. Men just look at women and go like, I like that. I think I'd hit it, right? She's walking away. I think I'd wear that ass as a hat. That's very nice, right? Like this is how men operate. We look at women as visually beautiful, sexual objects, right? So when we step out on somebody that we've committed to, it's cheating. It's not as significant as betrayal. Betrayal is very significant to a guy. Cheating is not as significant. Now, men and women get jealous for different reasons when it comes to cheating, which is also very interesting too. So make sure you're taking some notes because we're going to get deep down the rabbit hole, fellas. So this is what women worry about when a guy steps out. This is what makes them jealous, right? So if a guy goes off and gets some exercise, he steps out, comes home, loves his family, all this and that and the other thing, what she's concerned about, she doesn't start with, did you have sex with her? How many times did you have sex with her? What did you do when you had sex with her? You know what she starts with? Did you love her? Do you have an emotional attachment to her? Do you love her? That's what she wants to know. When a chick steps out on a guy and then they sit down and they start having the conversation, sitting at a table like Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith did when Jada went off and banged her son's best friend, and Will had to sit there like a cuck listening to this bullshit. The questions that they start asking is, did you fuck him? How was the sex? Did he make you come? How many times did you do it? Did he give you oral? Da-da-da-da. Like, they start thinking all of these things. Again, men and women are very different. We think very differently. The reason why women get so pissed off at guys and so hurt is because, and again, their solipsism will never let them see past their own nose. So women watching this right now, I'm gonna offer some nuggets of wisdom and truth. You may not like it. I don't give a fuck. It's the reality of the world. You just can't see past your own noses. It's a feature, not a bug. We love you for it. Women are concerned with you taking away from her and her offspring resources and attention and protection. Because you go back 250,000 years, we're roaming around as nomadic hunter-gatherers. There was no religion. There was no marriage. There was no pyramids of Giza. There was no Göbekli Tepe, as far as you know anyway. There was none of that stuff. We would just roam around as nomadic hunter-gatherers. And if a guy that she had a connection with, that she had pair bonded with or had children with, that she was sexually interested in and sharing her body with, would leave, then it could spell certain doom for a woman like that, right? Because he's the one bringing home the bacon. He's the one that's protecting everybody if the enemies knock on their door. Let's have some war, right? They're not picking up the war axes. They're not picking up the war axes and having a fight. The dudes are picking up the war axes and they're going to battle, not the women. Remember that. So women's concern is, what if he takes protection, resources, food, and all the good stuff away from me? I'm going to have a hard time surviving. Do women need a man today? No. They keep saying a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle. So women's biology is always conflicting with this toxic feminist narrative that's like, you don't need no man, girl, you go, girl, sort of thing. I'm that corporate lagger, put off having a family, smash a bunch of dudes, right? Behave like a dude, right? So women get incredibly hurt and frustrated with a guy that steps out because they think the way that they think. They apply their thinking to our thinking, which is fucked because that's not how we think at all. A man can legit go out, love his family, love his children, pay for his house and everything. I've seen this. I coach high net worth individuals, athletes, actors, influencers, businessmen, entrepreneurs. I've dealt with some very, very interesting people. I know guys that have stepped out on their marriage hundreds of times, but they still love their wife. They still love their children. They still come home. They still pay the bills. They still protect. They still preside. They still go to all the family functions. They go to the picnics and the Thanksgivings and the Christmas and the travels and the summer holidays and all that shit. But he goes out and gets exercise from time to time. I'm going to tell you something that's very controversial, and I'll die on this motherfucking hill. Women that leave men that love their family and pay for everything because he steps out and are all hurt, they're selfish. They are the most selfish people on the planet because they destroy that family. They tear that child, those children apart. The father loses access. She steals resources from him as a consequence of that. I know athletes right now that during their career, A-level athletes, like we're talking World Series champions, NFL, like, cup stuff, okay? That during their career traveled around and women throw themselves at them. They just do. And every once in a while they stepped out and they had some fun. When the women found out after they retired, they usually wait till after they retired so they can get the maximum benefits depending on what state they live in. But after they retired, they wait and then they divorce him. You cheated on me. Because they think the way that they cheat is the way he's cheating. Like he loves her. He wants to be with her. He's choosing her over her instead, and resources and protection and all this sort of stuff is going to go over here, right? So because women betray, they think that's a betrayal, not just exercise, not just a little bit of side action. They think that betrayal is exactly how they behave. They apply their thinking, their logic to him. And these women are the most selfish women on the planet. I'm telling you right now, disgusting. They disgust me. When they tear apart families, when these men want to be with their children and love their family. Oh, well, why do they step out? That's wrong. They shouldn't do that. If they weren't world-class athletes chasing excellence, putting a massive dent in the universe with stadiums filled with millions of people cheering them on, if they became fat, incompetent losers sitting at home, they couldn't hold down a job, these same women would leave those exact same men and go and bank somebody else. Are you unplugging and seeing the code in the matrix? Men and women are very different in how we operate. And this is just one example out of dozens upon dozens that I could present to you that define the differences between cheating and betrayal with men and women. I really hope you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full-length podcast, you can find that over here, that clip's from. If you're newer to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe over here and pin down below in the top comment. You'll find a bunch of useful links to my website, my supplement line, books, and a bunch of other stuff. Have an amazing day. Peace out.